Hello, PHX Loki here. This is part 2 of the 3-part series of how to make currency in Path of Exile. Quick disclaimer, these 3 videos that I'm coming out with are my preferred methods of making currency. I know that they work and I enjoy running them, which is why they are the 3 that I'm showing off. Um, Obviously there's other ways of doing it, but they're not really anything that I do. Like currency flipping is not really something that I participate in on a large scale, but obviously that can be really profitable. You know, sniping items can be really profitable, but anyway, moving on and moving forward, today's video we're going to be talking about delving. This is probably my favorite thing to do if I'm trying to farm currency because I think it's just fun. Delving and finding stuff and the RNG behind it, it's all just enjoyable to me. Um, so yeah, what is delving? Quick overcap. It's an infinite dungeon essentially. You can go infinitely to the left, infinitely to the right, and infinitely down. The deeper you go, the better the rewards are, and the harder the monsters are. Uh, as of this very moment, this is monster level 81. This is where I am. You can see my little marker right here. The yellow path is where I've been. The uncovered paths are where I have yet to be. It goes up to monster level 83, so like that's 82, and then down here there's 83. So 83 is the highest, but you can obviously go deeper than that. The monster level won't go up, but the modifiers will. So, when you're delving, what do you want to do? Well, first things first, you want to upgrade your equipment. How do you do that? Voltaxic generator. There are different categories here. They all upgrade with azurite, which can be farmed in the, uh, you know, the mines. Basically, there's a number of different things, and in order of importance, I'd probably put 1 sulphite capacity, 2 darkness resistance, 3 light radius. You want to get these up. You don't need sulphite capacity to be capped, but obviously the bigger capacity you have, the longer you can delve for, which is obviously better. You don't want to, delve for 15 minutes and have to refill. You'd rather delve for, 2 hours and then have to refill. It's just much smoother. Darkness resistance is capped at 75%, like elemental resistances. You always want to keep this capped no matter what. It's 75% damage reduction in the dark. I mean, nothing really much to be said about that. Cap this out always. Keep your eye on that. Just make sure this is capped. And then the third is light radius. Light radius dictates exactly that. Light radius around the cart. You follow the cart through the delve, and there's a little light area that you can kill stuff inside because stuff that's in the darkness cannot be killed. Light radius increases that radius so you can kill stuff further away from the cart. If you have no light radius, you have to stand literally right on top of the cart. It's a huge pain in the ass, so light radius, very important. After that, I would upgrade your maximum flares and dynamite. Flares, you throw a little light source so whenever you go into the darkness, you have a temporary light source that you can stand near to, regen or whatever, get rid of your darkness stacks. Dynamite is for blowing up fractured walls. Past that, I mean, you can really upgrade whatever you think is important. Damage, don't even bother. Like, I haven't upgraded this once. There's no point in getting damage. 1 dynamite always blows up 1 wall. This just increases the damage that it does against monsters, which is basically inconsequential. I mean, you're going to be killing monsters on your own, so don't need to bother with that. Radius, I upgraded it a couple of times. It's just a little bit of quality of life, so if you throw a dynamite and you happen not to throw it next to a wall, you still blow it up. Honestly, not that important. Flare duration and flare radius. Duration, not that important. I upgraded it a couple of times because just having, a couple more seconds is kind of nice, I guess. Lets you loot for a little longer. Radius is actually very nice. So if, you blow up a fractured wall, the little area is revealed, you throw a flare and the entire area is lit up rather than right where the flare is, so you can kill everything inside the area instead of waiting for it to come to you. So those are upgrades. So, when you're delving, what are you looking for? So, misconception people have about delving is the nodes are where all the rewards are. People say, oh, there's a currency node. How do I get to the currency node? That's good because it gives me currency. That's really good, right? Well, yeah, I mean, it's good. but it's not what you're looking for. What you're looking for is fractured walls. 95% of your earnings in Delve will come from behind fractured walls. They are immensely more potent when it comes to returns than anything else in delving. Well, how do you find fractured walls? So there are different pathways you can take. Obviously, you see everything snaking around here. There are really short pathways, like, from here to here. The pathway that I just took is extremely short. The chances of having a fractured wall on a short pathway are very low, and even if there is one, there will only be one. Whereas this pathway, we'll do this in just a second, is very long. See, this takes almost 2,000 sulfite to reach here, but this pathway takes 500, right? So it's, or 600, rounded up. So this is basically 4 times as much sulfite, which means you might have like 4 walls. You might have one here, 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 here. You never know. But the longer the pathway, the higher chance you have of spawning more fractured walls, which means more currency. So that's the first thing you want to look for. You want to look for long pathways. The second thing that you want to take note of is the biome in which you are traversing. So this biome right here is the sulfur vents. The one next to it, the abyssal depths, which is the green, and the one next to that is the frozen hollow, which is the blue. Depending on which biome you're in, different fossils will actually drop in each biome. So there are biome-specific fossils, essentially. So say you want to farm serrated fossils, because they are really popular in this league. They're selling for like 35 to 40 chaos per fossil. I really want serrated fossils. How do I get them? Serrated fossils only drop in the blue biome, the ice biome, the frozen hollow. Which is why if I zoom out a little bit, you'll see I traversed all through this blue biome, all through this blue biome here, and then down here, and I traversed through about half of this. The blue is, in my estimation, in my opinion, it's far and away the most profitable biome to farm. So if you see blue, you want to try to farm at least all the long passageways in it. Something like this where it's really short right here. You don't really need to do this because there's a pretty low chance of having a fractured wall on this pathway because it's so short. But something like this, you definitely want to hit that because you're going to get, basically guaranteed 2 fractured walls here, maybe 3. And if you get 1 serrated fossil, that's basically 40 chaos that you just found, right? And it's not like they're exceptionally rare, but they only spawn in the blue biomes. Past the blue, I'd say the sulfur vents and the magma fissure, the yellow and the red, are about tied for second. So those are the 3 that I like farming. The one that I hate farming is the where the hell is it? The petrified forest. And the only reason I hate farming this is I just don't like the layout. I don't like the biome. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know why it's like that, but all the other biomes I have down to a T at this point. This one is just, it's convoluted, it's confusing, it's just a pain to run through. One more thing to note, you'll notice that there's special areas like this. They're outlined in yellow. They have these weird looking chests inside of them, and it says Abyssal City. These are the city tiles. So this is an abyssal city. If you scroll down here, I already went through this one. This is a Vol outpost. And then there's one more as well. I forget exactly what it's called, but these are city tiles. The things that spawn inside of city tiles, the nodes, will always be treasure chests. The only exception is occasionally there will be a boss node. And there is a specific boss for each of the 3 different types of cities. These are always really profitable, and these nodes are actually good, very good. They're good. They're worth hunting down. They're worth going to, especially once you get deeper. If you get down here and get like monster level 82, or down here at monster level 83, and you find a city tile and you go down there, you're gonna get like 6, 7, 8 red maps in one of those tiles, a ton of currency, maybe some decent weapons. It's kind of nuts. There's a ton of monsters too. It's a ton of experience. It's just really good. So this is the one exception. Like if you find nodes like these, you probably want to go for them. Maybe less so if you're not quite as deep, but once you get down to this depth, this is a really great way to sustain your maps. What else? So when you're delving, what kind of build do you want? So the mechanics of delve are there's light areas, there's dark areas. The light areas are at the nodes themselves and around the minecart. Everything else is darkness. You cannot damage monsters that are in the dark. You still hit them, so life on hit or energy shield on hit will actually, regen you like normal, but you don't deal damage. So life leech, energy shield leech, that does not work in the darkness. Because of that, I am running a Soul Tether Cloth Belt. I'd usually run this anyway, but it's exceptionally good for Delve because it gives you Overleach. I'm playing a Berserker, so I don't have Overleach naturally. I get it from this belt. If you're playing a Slayer, you have natural Overleach. Otherwise, you can do, like on-hit effects to get your health back. You can just, throw flares. You can just be really fast. Or you just have a ton of health regen, just natural health regen. But you need some way to survive in the dark, essentially, because you're going to be running into the darkness. You can't afford to just throw flares willy-nilly like you're giving out candy on Halloween. You need a way to survive in the dark for at least a couple of seconds, and this gives me overleach for 5 seconds. Whenever I hit something, I have that leech effect for 5 seconds, no matter what. So that's how I sustain. I hit stuff next to the cart. I see a dark area, I run into the dark area, and for the first 5 seconds, I'm still leeching, even though I'm not leeching right then. The leech effects sustain me for those 5 seconds, and I'm totally fine. So let's do a delve real quick and just show what fractured walls are, what you're looking for, all that good stuff. That's not what I was looking to do. Okay, well, it took the shortest path possible. That's kind of a bummer. Let's find a different path. That's just going to be a pain. No, screw it. We'll go right here. So this path right here is a pretty long one. It's in the yellow area, so we'll just do that. It doesn't actually, it uses sulphite as you go, so if you accidentally click on something, it doesn't immediately eat your sulphite. You can choose a different spot. So you'll see my sulphite up at the top right here. Once I step on here, some of it turns red. That's the sulphite that you're eating up. And the further the card advances, you can see that number ticking down. So if we advance along here, I'm playing Cyclone, I just spin along this whole thing. If you're really fast, your cart will keep up with you. So that's something to note. You can't outrun your cart. If you go fast, it'll go fast with you. So here's an area back here. We run back here. There's no fractured wall, so I just kind of dip out. There's loot back there that I could have grabbed, but I don't think it's worth it. Now right here, I'll throw a flare. Usually I just throw a dynamite and wait it out. But this is a fractured wall. You can see it on the minimap up here with this icon. If you hover over it, it actually has a health bar and everything. So what you want to do is you want to throw a dynamite next to the fractured wall. And it's just one dynamite to blow it up. You throw a flare back here to light everything up so you can kill the stuff behind the fractured wall. And then there's stuff back here. So we got hidden loot, an etheric fossil, and a couple of perfect fossils and an aberrant fossil. So we'll come back to the actual value of all this stuff later on. So because we just found a fractured wall, like something like this won't have a fractured wall. These won't have fractured walls because there's, they're next to each other like this. They're perpendicular to the path. This one might, but it's unlikely because, again, we just found a fractured wall. They generally don't spawn next to each other. You can find flares and dynamite down here as well to self-sustain. You don't have to always craft them. But because we had a bunch of misses in a row, which I expected, we're going to find a fractured wall again pretty soon, would be my guess. So not right here, so probably the next opening that we get to. Not right here. Not right there. Alright, right here there should be one. And there is. So I'm in the darkness right now. I'm still overleaching. I blow up the wall, and then I throw a flare back here. So this time there were no fossils. Instead we got a hidden wealth and a resonator stash. Kill these to get rid of them. So the hidden wealth drops some of this, and then you have a couple of resonators. In case you're wondering, I'm using an uber strict filter, so all this stuff is dropping as well. It's just filtered out for me because I don't want to see it. So we continue onwards and forwards. Again, probably no fractured wall here because we just found one. probably no fractured wall here because we just found one. There should be one more. Maybe. I don't know. If we're lucky, we'll find... Nope, doesn't look like it. We already see the waypoint. So no more fractured walls. But we got 2 along that run. And we get to the encounter. We do the encounter. We kill the stuff that spawns. And at the end, a bunch of loot will spit out from around this. I mean, that's me holding Alt so you can see all the stuff that dropped. But again, super strict filter. These things will unlock, which drop extra loot. Occasionally you get something good. Got some rainbow strides, an orb of fusing. Couple of extra stuff, another orb of fusing. What do you know? All this stuff, right? So, those were, that was one quick delve. That's one example of what you're looking for. Now, we found 2 fractured walls along, let's go to the mining canvas so we don't get attacked. We found 2 fractured walls along, sorry about that. So we found 2 fractured walls along that thing, right? And we found a resonator and 2 little resonators. We found a couple of currencies. This is like 1 chaos. This is like 2 chaos. This is like 2.5-ish chaos just from that. Aberrant fossils, I know from experience, are 1 chaos each. So that's 1, 2, 2.5, 3, 4 chaos. Aetheric, it's like a half a chaos. So, I mean, that's like 4.5. So that's like 5 chaos right there, right? Go to my stash. I'm going to go to my resonator tab. I know, again, from experience, these primitive resonators, so this is what you socket fossils into. If you've ever done fossil crafting, you know this. These resonators actually sell for quite a bit. These sell for about 1 chaos, 1.5 chaos. These sell for 2 chaos. I just sold some earlier, which is why I don't have any left. So, I mean, that's 5 chaos. That's 7 chaos. We'll just say 1, so that's 8 chaos. My second resonator tab, I'm selling these for 3. I've sold most of them, not all of them. I mean, we'll say 2.5. So 8, it's like 10.5 chaos, right? For just 1 delve thing that we did with my uber strict filter where I didn't pick up anything else, right? There's a ton of transmutes, a ton of augments, a ton of chance orbs that just like filtered out. So 10.5 right here. And then we got 2 perfect fossils. Perfect fossils sell for a lot. Let me go onto my other screen real quick and open up Xenon Trade. There we go. If you're curious, this is a little tool that kind of price checks for you automatically. Works really well with standard stuff like, you know, fossils or uniques and stuff like that. It helps with rare items, but not quite as accurately. Little bar popped up top. So if I do this, it'll price check. Perfect fossil, 23 chaos. So these are selling for 23 chaos a piece. And these fossils like this are exactly why delve is so profitable. So we got 2 of these, right? So this is 10.5 chaos. All this random junko that we picked up. This is 46 chaos. We just made 56.5 chaos in 1 delve run. Just right there, just 56.5 in the bank, and that took 3 minutes, maybe? Delve is crazy good if you know where to look and you know what to look for. Selling these fossils is absolute money. So I'm just going to throw these in this tab, I'm going to throw these in this tab, throw this in this tab, and then throw these in my currency tab. 56.5. That was what we made from 1 delve run, and that is the essence of why delving is so valuable. I mean, that kind of sums it up as far as delving is concerned. The TLDR, get to a good depth. I'd say anything triple digits. So once you get to like depth 100 plus, I'd say that's a good time to, you know, start going side to side, start farming for fossils, doing all that stuff. Obviously, as you go downwards, you still want to look for fractured walls, but until you get to about 100 or over 100, depth, not monster level, there's a difference. Depth 100 plus, just go down. Just go down as fast as you can, hit all of these azurite nodes, the azurite cavities like this, the azurite vaults like this, to get azurite, to get your upgrades on your voltaxic generator, your voltaxic machine, so you get more sulphite capacity and darkness resistance and all that different stuff. Just go down. Once you get up to 100 plus, you can really start farming and looking for pathways. So like do what I did and hunt for all the blue ones, right? So you can get serrated fossils and stuff like that. because I think they're crazy good. I just think the blue ones are the best. Obviously, yellow ones are totally good to farm too, as we just showed, with one medium-sized delve right there, 56.5 chaos. Easy, guaranteed. Um, but yeah, the deeper you go, the better the rewards. The downside is the deeper you go, the more sulfite it consumes to do a passageway. So if I'm doing a short one from here to here, it's 643. If I go up just a little bit and I see another short one, instead of 643, it's 534. I'm already saving 100 sulfite from going monster level 80, instead of, this monster level 82. It's a pretty big difference. It goes up quite a bit the deeper you go. The rewards get better. Even behind fractured walls, the loot table is better. You get more quantity of items, you get better quality of items, all that different stuff. Um, yeah. So if you want to delve, give it a shot. Make sure you get your upgrades. Seriously, darkness resistance is huge. Light radius is huge. Get more flares and more dynamite. Upgrade your maximum. Just it's such a pain whenever you're delving and you find a fractured wall and you go to throw a dynamite and you don't have any, or you blow up a fractured wall and you go to throw a flare and you're out, so you can't kill the monsters behind it, so you have to run away, or you have to try to quickly grab the stuff. And I've died plenty of times because I ran out of flares and I got greedy. Get your upgrades. Whenever you find flares and dynamite in the dungeon, make sure you open those chests. It's just free. You don't have to worry about it. You can self-sustain on them. Once once your maximums get high enough, you can just self-sustain off of the stuff in Delve, what you find. But yeah, that's how you delve. Two parting things as to how to kind of navigate a little better. Occasionally you'll find nodes like this that are not connected to anything, and you have to figure out what the heck this is connected to. There's one rule of these. A node like this right here is connected to this node and this node. No node in Delve can only be connected to two areas. So this node is a fallacy. It cannot exist as it is, which means this is guaranteed to have a hidden wall attached to it, which is right here. So if I delve down here and I hit this, then I hit this, and then I hit this, and I went back to this one, you would see a light trail going back to this, a light trail going back to this, and then you would see another pathway that doesn't have a light trail. If you follow that pathway, you're going to have to run into the dark. You'll find a fractured wall. You blow it up, you run back here, and this path will be revealed. But yeah, if you're looking for how do I get to this node, well, you kind of have to, this is a telltale sign. Like this one, it connects to this. I know this for a fact. Because this node exists, it connects to two different things. It has to connect to 1, 3, or 4 things. It can never just connect to two. So I know it's from this one. If you see something like this and there's not a node like this nearby, you'd have to take an educated guess. That's all I can really tell you. How do you get sulfite? There's two ways. If you open your atlas, this little cogwheel right there, area contains Nico. That's guaranteed sulfite. Whenever an area contains Nico, there are 3 sulfite nodes, and you can harvest sulfite off of that. Or you can use scarabs, like this gilded sulfite scarab. If you put this in your map device along with a map, it spawns Nico on the map, and because it's a scarab, it also says you get more sulfite than normal. So gilded sulfite scarabs are the best way to do it. These cost like 50 to 60 chaos right now, like per scarab, which is obviously a steep price. But again, 50 to 60 chaos. So if you average that at 55 chaos, we just made 56 chaos in one run. They pay for themselves if you get deep enough, and if you know what you're looking for, they pay for themselves. I guarantee it. And one last thing with Nico and Sulphite, the amount of Sulphite you get per node. So if I were to run this map, the amount of Sulphite you get per node goes up based off of the map tier and the map quantity. So if you want the absolute maximum amount of Sulphite, you want to run tier 16s that you've all orbed and they corrupted to give you like 140% quantity, and then you put a bunch of the Atziri fragments in. these things here because these give 5% quantity per fragment. So ideally what you do is you have a tier 16 map, you'd put 3 fragments in it and then a scarab because you have the 5-slot map device from the emblem fight. Um, yeah, that's about the gist of it. Last video, I didn't actually show any of this build. If you guys are interested in this build that I'm running, I mean, it's incredible. I've killed Uber Elder Deathless a number of times now. It's done literally all the content there is to do in the game. I've killed, 5-way legions. I've killed Uber Atziri. I've killed Uber Elder. I've done Uber Azaro. Anything you can think of, this build has done it. Well, except for Hall of Grandmasters. I can't kill the one bastard with the cast when damage taken thing, but honestly, not many builds can do that. So yeah, I'll leave the path of building down in the description below with this. If you have any questions, you can message me in game. Wakatiki Bam Bam. If you forget the name, I can message it or something in the comments below. If you like the video, leave a like, subscribe, do all that different stuff. I'm coming out with more videos soon enough. And until then, I guess I'll catch you in the next video. Later.